Welcome to your deep dive. This time, we're tackling those precious joints. Got some interesting articles you sent over about keeping them healthy as we age, and one especially caught my eye about a supplement called Joint Genesis. Sounds promising, right?
Definitely piqued my interest too. Lots of buzz around supplements these days, so we'll dig into what the science actually says.
Exactly. Separate fact from, marketing hype. So we all know kind of what joints do, bending, twisting, all the good stuff.
Right.
But these articles, they're saying there's more to it, especially as we get older.
Absolutely. Think about it every time you reach for your coffee, scroll on your phone,
Yeah.
even just nodding along to this. Yeah, those are your joints working hard. And the thing is, all those little movements depend on a pretty amazing system. Cartilage, fluid, ligaments, all of which, well, change as we age.
Okay, there's the less fun part, right? Aging. And a couple of articles even mentioned osteoarthritis, which honestly nobody wants to hear about. But good news is we're not powerless here, right? There are things we can do.
You got it. It's less about stopping the clock and more about deciding how those years affect how we move. Think of it like two classic cars, right? One's been meticulously cared for, the other not so much. Which one's still cruising smoothly down the road later on?
I'm going with the one that's had its oil changed, for sure.
Exactly. And speaking of which,
Oh, this is where that village in Japan comes in, right? Yuzurihara.
yeah, you read about that.
Yeah. Apparently they're living long and their joints are, like, amazing. What's the deal? Secret hot springs or something?
Even better, it's their diet. They eat tons of this purple sweet potato, and it just so happens to be packed with this molecule called hyaluronan.
Okay, so hold on. Is this like the collagen craze? Do we all need to add purple sweet potatoes to our grocery list now?
Well, let's break it down. So hyaluronan, it's pretty crucial for healthy joints. Think of it like the oil in an engine, keeps things running smooth. In your joints, hyaluronan's a big part of that thick fluid that lets everything glide effortlessly. So yeah, this village's diet is a big clue that what we eat can directly affect how well our joints age.
Big aha moment there.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to Joint Genesis, right? They're all about this whole hyaluronan thing. They've even got this ingredient called Mobility, supposed to boost it, plus like French maritime pine bark and ginger root for inflammation, which, ouch, we know that's no good.
Yeah, they're definitely ticking off some trendy ingredients. Mobility, according to their website, is all about giving your body what it needs to make more hyaluronan.
Like providing the building blocks, right?
Exactly. And then the
Yeah.
pine bark, ginger, that's like the anti-inflammatory team, keeping everything running smoothly. Gotta be honest, their website's got a ton of glowing reviews. And let's just say I've read enough of those to be, well, a little skeptical. It's good to be skeptical. Testimonials, they can be persuasive. But remember, it's just one person's experience, not scientific proof. It's like relying on your friend's opinion on a car doesn't necessarily mean it's the right fit for you, right?
Exactly. So how do we figure out if Joint Genesis is the real deal or just good marketing?
We follow the science. We've got to see if these ingredients actually work the way they claim to. Is there research to back it up? That's the key question.
Let's do it. We'll unpack each ingredient, look at what the research says, but we also need the bigger picture, right? Because even the Joint Genesis folks, they say it's not just about popping a pill.
Exactly. And those articles you sent, they back that up big time. A holistic approach, that's what we're talking about. So while we're analyzing Joint Genesis, we're also going to uncover those universal truths about what keeps our joints happy for, well, decades to come.
All right, so Joint Genesis ingredients, let's break them down. First up, we've got this Mobility thing. They're really pushing the whole hyaluronan boost, right? What does science have to say about that?
Okay, Mobility, it's a bit of a marketing term, honestly. It's a blend. And one of the key ingredients is hyaluronic acid.
Ah, okay, so that's where they're getting at.
Yeah, so hyaluronic acid is actually a building block of hyaluronan, which, remember we were saying it's like the oil for your joints.
Yeah, it keeps everything running smooth.
Right. So the thinking is, by giving your body more of this hyaluronic acid, you're going to ramp up hyaluronan production.
Like, adding more workers to the factory, more hyaluronic acid means more hyaluronan gets made.
That's the idea, yeah.
However.
There's always a however.
Of course. So the research on whether taking hyaluronic acid orally actually increases its levels in the joints is, well, it's a bit mixed.
Not as straightforward as they make it sound.
Exactly. Some studies show promise, especially for people dealing with osteoarthritis. But we need more research to say for sure if it's truly effective, you know.
Okay, so the jury's still out on Mobily's star player. What about those other ingredients, the French maritime pine bark and ginger root? Those sound pretty fancy. They do sound fancy, don't they? But they do have some science behind them. So, pine bark extract. It's packed with antioxidants.
Which, antioxidants, those are the good guys.
Exactly. And they help protect your cells from damage caused by, free radicals.
Right, those pesky free radicals always causing trouble.
Think of antioxidants like a shield, basically protecting against those little troublemakers that contribute to aging, inflammation.
Because inflammation, we know that's like public enemy #1 for our joints.
You got it. So pine bark extract, good for defense, you could say.
Okay, pine bark check.
Yeah.
Now, ginger. I feel like ginger's supposed to be good for everything. Is that true?
It's definitely got a reputation. Long history in traditional medicine, especially for its anti-inflammatory properties. And there are studies, some studies at least, that suggest it could be helpful for joint pain, especially, again, for people with osteoarthritis.
Okay, so both pine bark and ginger get a cautious thumbs up. Sounds promising, but again, it's not a magic pill situation, is it?
You hit the nail on the head. It all comes back to that holistic approach. Remember those articles you sent? They emphasize that it's not enough to just pop a pill and hope for the best. It's about building healthy joints from the ground up.
Right. Building that strong foundation. And speaking of foundations, one of the articles mentioned diet, specifically loading up on omega-3s, like those found in fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, that kind of thing. Are those really joint superstars?
They definitely play a key role, that's for sure. Omega-3 fatty acids, they've got some serious anti-inflammatory powers. So they can help manage joint pain, stiffness, and bonus, they're good for your heart, your brain, your overall health. It's a win-win.
So adding more salmon to the shopping list for sure. Now exercise. Gotta ask, some days even walking to the mailbox feels like a workout for my knees.
And that's exactly why staying active is so important. And listen, it's not about pushing yourself to the limit or anything. It's about, keeping those joints moving, those muscles strong, even gentle activities, walking, swimming, maybe some yoga. These can make a huge difference in maintaining your mobility, your flexibility as you age.
Right, it's like joint maintenance. We're talking about the long game here, not about wiping out pain overnight, but really protecting our joints for years to come. What else can we do? We've covered food, exercise, sleep. I'm a big believer in sleep. Does that count?
Oh, absolutely. Being well rested, it's crucial for overall health. But here's the thing about sleep that people might not realize. It's when your body does a lot of its repair work.
So if you're skimping on sleep.
You're basically delaying those joint tune-ups, yeah. Aim for that 7 to 9 hours a night.
Yeah.
Make it non-negotiable, part of your routine.
7 to 9 hours, check. All right, adding that to my to-do list. Okay, what else?
Well, since we're talking about healthy habits, how about we address the elephant in the room? Weight management.
Okay, yeah, I figured that was coming.
It's important because extra weight, it just puts more stress on your joints, especially those weight-bearing ones, your knees, your hips. Now, I'm not saying everyone needs to be, marathon ready or anything, but maintaining a healthy weight can significantly impact how your joints feel as you get older.
For sure, it's about finding what works for your body, your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we've got diet, exercise, sleep, weight management. These aren't revolutionary concepts, but they're clearly important for healthy joints.
Exactly. It's the simple things, done consistently, that make the biggest difference over time. Think of it like building a house. You need that strong foundation to withstand the years.
Speaking of foundations, both the Joint Genesis Review and one of those articles mention genetics playing a role in joint health. Does that mean we're stuck with whatever our parents gave us? Is there anything we can do?
Well, genetics can definitely kind of deal you a certain hand, But it doesn't mean you can't play the game strategically. It's like, if you know there's a history of, say, heart disease in your family, you're probably going to be extra careful about diet and exercise.
Right, makes sense.
Same thing with joints. You have a family history of joint issues. Well, that's even more reason to be proactive with all those lifestyle choices we've been talking about.
So, if grandma had bum knees, maybe you double down on the salmon and yoga.
Exactly. It's all about understanding your risks and taking control where you can. Now, speaking of taking control, we've been focusing on these lifestyle changes, which are crucial. But there's another layer to this whole holistic approach that's worth exploring.
Ooh, what's that?
Alternative therapies.
Okay, you mean like acupuncture, massage therapy.
Exactly. Things like that. And, well, of course, we always recommend consulting with your doctor. A lot of people find relief, find support through these types of therapies.
So it's about having a whole toolkit for joint health.
That's a great way to put it. From everyday choices to those more targeted treatments. We've covered so much, but I'm wondering, What if someone's listening and they're thinking, okay, this is all great, but where do I even begin? What's step one?
That is a fantastic question. And honestly, I think it starts with self-awareness. Before you even think about supplements, before you overhaul your entire diet, just start by listening to your body.
Listening to our bodies. What do you mean by that?
I mean, really pay attention to how you feel. Where do you have stiffness, pain, any limited movement? What makes it better or worse? Are there certain activities, certain foods that seem to trigger it? This self-awareness, it's going to be invaluable as you work with your doctor, maybe a physical therapist, to figure out a personalized plan.
Right, like going to the doctor and say, my knee hurts, but being able to give them all the details. Exactly. The more information you can give them, the better they can understand what's going on. Now, we've talked a lot about those lifestyle changes, but I want to circle back to joint genesis for a sec. We analyzed the ingredients, looked at the research, but do we know if it actually works?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Have we heard enough to say for sure?
Well, here's the thing about supplements. There's rarely a simple answer. Joint genesis, it might help some people, especially those with, mild joint discomfort, or maybe those looking to be proactive, prevent issues down the road. But it's not a miracle cure, that's for sure. And it definitely can't replace those foundational lifestyle changes we talked about.
So it's like an add-on, not the main event.
Exactly. Think of those lifestyle changes. Diet, exercise, sleep, managing stress. Those are your all-star team, consistently racking up those points. A supplement like Joint Genesis, it's more like that bench player who might come in handy for a few minutes.
I like that. So if someone's thinking about trying it, what's your advice?
First and foremost, talk to your doctor. They can help you weigh the pros and cons, especially considering your health history, any medications you might be on. And remember, even if you try it, don't expect overnight miracles, right? Give it time, pay attention to how your body feels, and don't be afraid to adjust if you need to.
It's all about that personalized approach, which really applies to everything we've talked about today. There's no one-size-fits-all for healthy joints, right?
Absolutely. And that's part of what makes this whole journey so interesting, It's about really being involved in your own health, understanding your body, and making informed decisions every step of the way.
So well said. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners who are ready to prioritize those joints?
Here's the thing. You have more power over how your joints age than you might realize. So embrace that. Make those small changes. Get moving. Prioritize sleep. Manage stress. It's not about being perfect. It's about making those conscious choices that add up over time.
And knowledge is power, right? The more you know about your body, the better choices you can make.
Couldn't agree more. So keep learning, keep exploring, and don't hesitate to reach out to those healthcare pros for guidance and support.
Awesome. Well, it's been fantastic diving deep into this with you.
Likewise. Always a pleasure.
To all our listeners, here's to happy, healthy joints. Until next time, keep exploring.